What has been the toughest thing about playing with LeBron James?
I wouldn't say any toughest.
That's the answer I was looking for.
Oh.
That's just the answer I was looking for right there. It's not tough. It should be easy to play with him.
He just wants to be great, man. Just talk about his 23rd season. I said I might not be able to walk no more at 23rd season, and he's still doing it at the best of the best.
And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Like you mentioned a little bit about today's game, because we had Club on here and he talked about load management. He said, I don't know what the hell that is. Where is it going? And that's number one. And number two, how do we get it back?
Even for me, I love the NBA game, but then I turn on to a game, right? And then the stars are not playing because of load management. It's hurting the game.
Luka Dončić sat down with Snoop Dogg for what looked like a chill, laid-back interview, but nobody expected him to drop a line that exposed the biggest split in NBA culture right now. He's talking about LeBron James, giving him props for that crazy long career, and then Luka drops a comment that makes you freeze for a second. I might not be able to walk no more at 23 seasons. He laughs when he says it, but the truth hits heavy, because that line wasn't random. It wasn't some throwaway joke. That was Luka telling the world exactly what type of player he is, and it's the complete opposite of what most players in today's NBA are doing. While LeBron is celebrating year 23, Luka is explaining why he might never even get close to that number. And before you think that's a bad sign, let me show you why it might actually be the most championship-locked thing an NBA star has said in years. Here's how it went down. Snoop asks Luka what it's like hooping with LeBron, and Luka gives the standard respectful answer. He praises LeBron's dominance, talks about how wild it is seeing him still controlling the game in his 23rd season, all the usual respect you'd expect. But then Luka drops that line about maybe not being able to walk by year 23, and the way he says it tells you everything. He's not really making a joke. He's being honest with himself. Luka knows exactly what he's doing to his body. He knows the price he's paying every night, and he's fine with it, because when the talk shifts to championships, listen to what Luka says first. Kobe brought so many championships here. You know, LeBron brought a championship here. Did you catch that? Kobe brought many, LeBron brought one. That's not Luka throwing shade. That's Luka showing who he studied. That's him revealing who he models his game and mindset after. And when Snoop starts flashing those championship rings, spinning them around, talking about bringing magic back to LA, Luka doesn't bring up longevity. He doesn't talk about playing into his 40s. He focuses on one thing and one thing only, getting that ring.
That's amazing to know that you had a relationship with Kobe Bryant and now you playing with LeBron James in the building that means so much to us in LA. Does any of that go through your head while you playing and on a mission for a championship, thinking about that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Kobe brought so many championships here. LeBron brought a championship here, so I want to be the next one to do it for sure. But just, I met Kobe, I playing with LeBron just as a little kid in Slovenia. I just wanted to play basketball. Just wanted to touch the NBA, and now I'm playing.
Even with a new baby girl almost here and a whole life waiting for him outside the court, Luka's mind is locked in. Championships come first, no hesitation. He's chasing that top spot like nothing else matters. But here's where things really get wild, because the way Luka is hooping right now exposes a truth most modern NBA fans pretend not to see. There are two totally different roads to greatness in this league, and only one of them ends with multiple rings. Check this out. On one side, you've got the stretch your career route. This is the new school mindset. Protect your body, think long-term, stack up seasons until you're hitting year 20, pile up career totals, grab every record you can. LeBron James perfected this style. He chooses when he goes full speed, he picks his spots, he controls his minutes, and he rests even when he's still good to play if the schedule is rough. And it's paying off like crazy. The man is 40 and still putting up numbers like it's nothing. But then there's the other path, the old school mentality, the Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan blueprint. You treat every game like it could be your last breath on the court. You don't ask for rest days. You push through pain that would shut most players down, and you pour everything you've got into chasing rings. This style breaks your body down, and people don't like admitting it. But it brings more championships. Just look at the facts. Kobe Bryant stayed in the league for 20 seasons, but by the end, his body was paying the price. He tore his Achilles at 34, and by 37, he could barely move the way he wanted. His last season was hard to watch, but here's what he walked away with. 5 championship rings. 5 times he stood on that stage, holding that Larry O'Brien trophy with pride. Michael Jordan? 15 seasons with breaks in between, and he finally retired at 40 after a short comeback where his knees were done, and he couldn't fly the same way anymore. But he's still left with 6 rings. 6 times he proved he was the coldest player alive when the moment demanded it.
But you have to really play hard. Does that hurt you physically?
No, because when I play hard all the time. There's no turn it on here, turn it off here. It's just 110% at all times.
We come to practice, he's on one leg. Like he was hurt the second year, he was on one leg the whole year and played 82 games. Wow. Like, and so he practiced every day and he played every game on one leg. And so you're like, man, MJ, why don't you just sit up? How can I be the leader of the team and sit out and y'all going through all the credit? I gotta be there.
I twist my ankle and I had a teammate, David Greenwood. He says, you know, you twist your ankle, young fella, come over and sit with me. You know, this is, you need to. I said, no, man, I'm trying to make a name for myself. There's no way I can sit. You know, I need to get out there and show what I'm capable of. I want to play. I want to win. I want to make an impact.
Now look at LeBron, 23 seasons deep, and he's still moving like someone who refuses to slow down. His body is holding up in a way that's almost unreal for his age. He's on pace to play more games than anyone the league has ever seen, and he's stacking up points like it's a personal project. But even after all those years, all those super teams, and all those all-star teammates, he's sitting at 4 rings, 4 championships in 23 seasons. So here's the real question people stay quiet about, because it always stirs things up. What hits harder, lasting longer in the league or stacking up championships?
I competed hard. I played the game the way it was supposed to be played. I played injured, and I played with a lot of pride. So I owe everything to the NBA.
Michael Jordan, the Magic Johnsons, Larry Bird, Charles Barkley's, we earned what we got. When the corporate America came to us, we had a game that could validate their admiration and
sponsorship and all that, yeah.
Now they get that before they play one game.
Yeah.
So you're rolling the dice to see if this kid's ever going to be good or not.
Yeah.
So in essence, you're paying the kid off of potential.
Yeah.
That he may be great.
You don't think that's good?
No, because I think it sets bad work ethic. When you get something so easily, you're not going to work as hard.
Now let's get into what Luka actually pulled off this season, because this is the moment where everything becomes real. This is where you see exactly which road he chose. And trust me, he's not following the LeBron long-term blueprint. He's locked into that Kobe, give everything you've got mindset. Luka missed 18 games this year, and at first glance that looks rough, until you realize every single one came from real injuries. Not one game was for load management. Not one was a rest day. Not one was a let's be cautious type situation. Luka pushed through a calf injury that should have benched him for weeks, and he played through a knee issue that had him limping up and down the floor like he was dragging a weight behind him. He even left one game on crutches, and somehow he still pushed himself to come back early. That's wild dedication. And here's the twist. He lost MVP eligibility because of all this. The league has a rule now. You need 65 games to qualify for MVP, supposedly to stop players from sitting out when they're totally fine. But Luka didn't miss games for rest. He missed games because his body finally forced him to slow down after he played through too much pain. He sacrificed his MVP chance because he refused to sit when his squad needed him. That's a different level of commitment. Think about it for a second. LeBron has never dealt with that issue because he manages his minutes, his season, and his durability better than anyone ever has. He plans it out perfectly. But Luka played so hard he literally ran out of physical fuel. And even then, even when his team went 6-2 without him and proved they could survive, he rushed back because watching from the sideline tore him up inside. That's that Kobe mentality right there. That's what it looks like when a player cares more about fighting every battle than worrying about stretching his career 20 years down the road. And here's the controversial part. Nobody knows yet if this approach is genius or reckless. We won't know for another decade. But what we do know is this. Players who followed this path in the past ended up with more championships. That's the truth. Kobe's body gave out by 37, but he walked away with 5 rings. Jordan's body eventually broke down too, but he still collected 6. LeBron's body is still in elite condition, but he has 4. So which path actually produces the most championships? That's the real argument. And here's something a lot of people don't know about Luka. He met Kobe Bryant when he was still a kid, long before he was an NBA star, long before the draft hype, long before any spotlight was on him. He crossed paths with the Black Mamba early, and you can tell it stuck with him. Because when Luka talked about Lakers championships in that Snoop interview, listen to his exact words again. Kobe brought so many championships here. You know, LeBron brought a championship here. That wording says everything. Kobe brought many. LeBron brought 1. Luka could have said both brought championships. He could have said they both won titles, but he didn't. He separated them on purpose, and he put Kobe first. That shows what influenced him. Now think about those final Kobe seasons. The man played his last game with a torn rotator cuff. He went through an entire season with knees that were basically gone. He couldn't jump the way he used to. He couldn't slide laterally like he once did, but he still showed up night after night. In some seasons, he literally played all 82 games because that was the standard. That was what being a champion meant to him. You didn't ask for rest. You didn't load manage. You suited up because your teammates and the fans deserved that effort. And here's what really separated Kobe from LeBron in this lane. Kobe's teammates watched him give everything. His energy, his comfort, even his long-term health to chase championships. They saw him hoop through injuries that would have ended most players' seasons. They saw him refuse to sit out even when he probably should have. That kind of heart creates a culture. It builds a locker room expectation that when your best player refuses nights off, everybody else better match that fire. Nobody on the squad can complain when there's superstars out there fighting on one leg during the playoffs. If your leader is limping around and still giving everything, how can anyone else even think about saying they're tired? Compare that with what LeBron's teammates see. They watch him take nights off when he's fully healthy just because it's a back-to-back. They see him rest for load management. Kobe built something way bigger than basketball in that Lakers locker room. He built a whole code. Kobe's standard was simple but tough. Show up, push through pain, never drop excuses, and chase championships like your whole life depends on it. That's why he's got 5 rings sitting in his legacy. That's why his teammates would go through anything for him. Luka keeps saying he wants to be the next one to bring a championship to LA. And he mentions both Kobe and LeBron when he talks about it. But based on how he's hooping right now, based on how he's willing to put his body on the line, and how he won't load manage even when it costs him awards, Luka's walking the Kobe path, not the LeBron one. Now here's where things get spicy because these questions are going to make some people uncomfortable, but they're real questions that deserve real thought. And the only way we figure out which path truly works is by asking them straight up. First question, if LeBron James had played with Kobe's mentality, would he have more than 4 rings right now? Really think about it. LeBron has teamed up with players like D. Wade, Chris Bosh, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, and Anthony Davis. He's been on super teams for big stretches of his career. He's always had talent around him, but he also skipped games for rest and load management, especially in these later years. Imagine if he went full Kobe and played every season like he owed the game everything. Imagine if he never took nights off. Would he be sitting at 6 rings right now? 7? We'll never know, but it's a fair question. The counter argument is that because he preserved himself, LeBron has been able to chase titles for 3 different decades. That's the longevity mindset. Protect your body so you get more chances at rings. But if you get more chances and still don't convert them at the same rate the old school guys did, what does that really say? Second question, how impressive is it to reach year 23 if you sat out 50+ games along the road to get there? LeBron is about to own every longevity record in NBA history. Most games, most minutes, most years. He's snatching all of it. But how many of those records would he still have if he played like Jordan and Kobe, who suited up almost every night? And if the records change based on how you get them, do those records even matter as much? Or are championship rings the only stat that truly decides greatness? Here's the third question, and this one cuts to the core. What would Kobe Bryant say about load management? We already kind of know because Kobe spoke on it before he passed. He didn't directly attack players, but he made it clear where he stood. He said he played through pain because he refused to let teammates down. He said sitting out when you can play disrespects fans who paid to watch you. His whole identity was built on showing up no matter what. So what would he say about someone sitting out a game while completely healthy just because it's the second night of a back-to-back? What would he say about load management policies? We all know the answer, and Luka definitely knows it too. That's why he pushes through injuries. That's why he lost MVP eligibility while playing too hard instead of resting. He's following the Kobe code like it's written in stone. Fourth question, and this one might be the most heated. Did the era change the whole mindset? Back in the 90s and 2000s, if you sat out games without a real injury, people called you soft. Your toughness got questioned. Fans and media came at you hard because that was the culture. But in the 2010s and 2020s, the moment you don't rest, people call you reckless and say you're not thinking long-term. The entire viewpoint flipped. The whole culture flipped upside down, and now we're stuck wondering which era actually had it right. Which generation built more cold-blooded competitors? Which mentality actually led to more championships? Look at the title runs from each era. The 90s had Jordan and the Bulls showing up every night, playing through everything, and grabbing 6 rings. The 2000s had Kobe and Shaq, then Kobe and Pau, grinding through injuries and chaos while stacking 5 more for the Lakers. But in the 2000s and 2000s, things changed fast. The Warriors won with ball movement, spacing, and smart rest. The Raptors won with Kawhi, even though he barely played most of the season. The Bucks won, the Nuggets won, and they're amazing teams, but none of them created the kind of dynasty aura the Bulls and Lakers had. None of those players reached that mythical Jordan and Kobe level. Maybe that's just timing, or maybe there's something special about that old school sacrifice, about that refuse to sit mentality, that builds legends in a way the modern save your body approach never will. Now, here's the 5th and final question. Does your best player's attitude during the regular season shape the entire championship culture? When LeBron sits out a game while healthy and the rest of the roster sees it, what message does that send? Compare that to Kobe's teammates watching him limp through games, fight through pain, and refuse days off. Which environment creates a tougher team? Which one builds a squad that's ready to survive the playoffs with everything on the line? I'm not saying there's one correct answer, but these questions matter because what Luka is doing right right now, playing through injuries, giving up MVP eligibility, refusing to load manage, that's him showing the world exactly which philosophy he believes leads to rings. And here's why Lakers fans should pay close attention. Luka Dončić is only 25, and he's already putting his body on a collision course. He's playing the way Kobe played, refusing to sit, picking winning over long-term preservation, and publicly telling Snoop Dogg that he wants to bring a championship to LA. But here's the timer that's already ticking. If he stays on this path, Luka might only have around a 10-year window before his body starts breaking down. Kobe's body began to fall apart around age 34, and that Achilles tear at 34 was the start of the decline. If Luka follows that same grind-heavy route, that means Lakers fans have roughly until he's about 35 to grab titles with him. That's a decade. Sounds long, but in NBA life, that's a tight window. The Lakers just made the deal for Luka. They've still got LeBron deep into year 23, and Anthony Davis in the mix. The pieces are there, but the runway is shorter than most fans realize. If Luka keeps playing with this sacrifice-first style, this won't be a 15-year calm partnership. It'll be a blazing, high-intensity run, just like Kobe's prime years. And honestly, maybe that's exactly what Lakers fans crave. Maybe they don't want another star aiming for a 20-plus year career. Maybe they want someone who leaves everything on the floor, someone who plays through pain, someone who brings that Mamba-style edge back to the franchise. Luka's already showing he's built for that. And if he stays healthy over the next 3 seasons, the Lakers could legitimately go after 3 championships straight. But that only happens if Luka keeps this same show-up-every-night mindset, refusing load management, showing up for every big moment, and sacrificing when needed. If he switches to the longevity route later, sure, the Lakers might get more years out of him, but they might lose that championship urgency. That's the trade-off. You want the Kobe mentality? You're accepting a shorter prime but a higher ring chance each year. You want the LeBron longevity plan? You get more seasons but fewer chances to dominate. Luka has already made his choice. The real question now is whether Lakers fans are ready for everything that choice brings. So let's put everything together, because Luka wasn't joking when he said he might not even be able to walk by year 23. He was spelling out the real price of greatness, loud and clear. He was showing everyone which path he picked. And it's definitely not the modern protect your body and play until you're 45 plan. He's walking the Kobe road, the Jordan road, the give everything you've got for championships road. LeBron James is probably going to finish with more seasons played than anyone in NBA history. He'll stack every longevity record you can think of. And there's a real chance he ends with 5, maybe even 6 rings. That's an incredible career, no doubt. But Kobe Bryant grabbed 5 rings in fewer years and became a legend in Los Angeles. Michael Jordan grabbed 6 rings and became the face of basketball for an entire generation. Their careers didn't need 20-plus seasons. Those shorter peaks made their legacies hit even harder because they burned bright while they were on top. Luka has already chosen his lane. He's only 25, and he's playing like his body is something he's willing to sacrifice if it means winning. He's already prioritizing championships over career length. He's already rolling with the Kobe blueprint instead of the LeBron one. And if you look at the past, look at the numbers, look at every star who lived by that mindset, players who went down this road usually walked away with more rings. So the real question isn't whether Luka's approach is right or wrong. The real question is simple. What do you value more as a fan? Do you want your superstar playing 20-plus years, pacing himself, being strategic about when he goes all out? Or do you want a player who gives you everything he has right now, burns out around 35, and leaves behind a wall full of championship banners? Luka already answered that for himself. And if you're a Lakers fan, you better hope he stays committed to that path, because the Kobe way might tear down his body by his mid-30s. But that same mentality is what brought 5 championships to Los Angeles. And right now, watching Luka refuse to load manage, watching him fight through injuries, watching him lose MVP eligibility because he played too hard, that looks way more like the start of a dynasty than a mistake. So think about it and drop your thoughts. Which path do you respect more? The player who lasts until year 23 by pacing himself? Or the player who sacrifices everything for championships and steps away early? Because the truth is both paths can lead to greatness. They just define greatness in different ways. And the path Luka is walking right now is the one that historically brought home the most championship parades. If you're a Lakers fan, that's exactly what you should be rooting for. And if this hit you, go ahead and show some love, because we're digging into the stories that actually matter behind the headlines. And before you dip, make sure you hit that like button, smash subscribe, and turn on the alerts so you never miss a new video. Big stories, big debates, all of it straight to you.